I've got to be honest, I'm sick of seeing those gorgeous, glossy black tower speakers on a listing, only to get a meh experience once they sit on the floor and the music hits the room. You scroll through the photos, you read the generic crystal clear highs copy, and then you end up with a pair that sounds like it's trying to fill a space that's just a little too big for the power it can actually deliver. That hesitation is real, and that's why I'm doing this deep dive. I want you to walk away knowing whether the SVS Prime Pinnacle in piano gloss black is going to be the centerpiece of your listening room or just another piece of overpriced core. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. First off, let's talk about the type of setup this speaker is built for. The Prime Pinnacle is a three-way floor-standing tower, so it's inherently aimed at people who have a dedicated listening area. Think a medium-sized living room, a home theater, or a dedicated music den that can accommodate a full-size cabinet. The cabinet itself is designed to be a little more compact than a traditional SVS tower, which means you can actually fit it behind a standard 42-inch TV without it sticking out like a billboard. That lifestyle-friendly footprint is a real advantage if you're juggling aesthetics and performance, because you won't have to sacrifice wall space just to get the SVS name. On the flip side, the size of the cabinet does set a ceiling on how much low-frequency output you can get. If you're trying to fill a huge open-plan space or you love that deep, cinematic rumble in your movie night tracks, you'll find the bottom end more restrained than a larger, more traditional SVS monolith. The heart of the Pinnacle is its trio of 6.5-inch ported woofers. In everyday use I've found that they deliver a tight, well-controlled bass that feels more like a musical foundation rather than a wall-shaking thump. If you're listening to jazz or classic rock, you'll notice that the bass sits right under the kick drum and double bass lines, providing the rhythmic glue without ever getting muddy. For a home theater scenario, those woofers keep dialogue clear while still giving action movies that needed punch. Just don't expect the kind of boom 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 you'd get from a dedicated subwoofer. The practical upshot is you can get a fairly complete sound from a single tower, which is great if you're not ready to add a separate sub or you don't have the room for another box. The mid-range driver is a brand new 5.25-inch composite glass fiber cone. That combination of materials really shines when you throw in vocal-centric tracks. Think singer-songwriters or acoustic fingerpicking. The mids are surprisingly detailed, with a level of nuance that lets you hear the breath in a vocalist's phrasing or the subtle decay of a piano's sustain. This is not just a clear sound, it's a sound that actually translates the intention behind the performance. If you're a casual listener who just wants the music to sit in the background while you cook dinner, you may not need that level of mid-range intimacy. But for anyone who cares about lyric clarity or instrument separation, this is a core strength. The 1-inch aluminum dome tweeter is where the Pinnacle makes its final push into the high-frequency arena. In practice, you get a bright but not shrill sparkle on cymbals, hi-hat, and violin strings. It has a subtle airiness that makes the soundstage feel wider than the physical dimensions of the speaker suggest. I've compared it in the same room to a pair of bookshelf speakers on stands, and the sense of space was noticeably larger with the Pinnacle. That matters for gamers too. Positional audio cues and first-person shooters become clearer when the highs are defined, which can actually improve gameplay performance. SVS's sound-matched three-way crossover is the glue that holds the whole system together. The crossover blends the three drivers in a way that feels natural. There's no harsh transition between the woofer and the mid-range, and the tweeter integrates without sounding like it's sitting on top of the other drivers. In the real world, that translates to a seamless musical narrative. When I streamed a live concert recording, the instruments moved across the soundstage without any jumps that could break immersion. However, there's a catch. This smoothness comes from a fairly aggressive internal tuning that assumes an ideal listening environment. If your room is heavily carpeted, or you have a lot of reflective surfaces, you might notice a slight overemphasis on the upper mids. In that scenario, a small parametric EQ adjustment can level things out, but it does add a bit of extra work for the average buyer. Who should buy the Prime Pinnacle? If you already have a decent amp around 150,200 watts per channel into 8 ohms, or you're planning to pair it with a quality AV receiver and you want a single speaker solution that can handle music, movies, and gaming with a respectable level of detail, this is a solid match. It's especially appealing to people who value aesthetics.